The 20 series is finally out, but unfortunately, all the cards out right now are really overpriced for the performance that they provide. However, will the GTX 2060 be an exception to that? Welcome to Hari's Hobbies. So first of all, let's take a look at the expected performance of the GTX 2060. Because if the performance isn't good, then there is no point in even considering the card in the first place. So far, with all the cards that are out right now, like the RTX 2080 Ti and 2080, we have seen some great improvement over last generation. For example, the RTX 2080 Ti is about 30% faster than the GTX 1080 Ti. And there are several leaks out there that are suggesting the GTX 2060 will be greater than or equal to the performance of the GTX 1080. It may not be as high as that, but I would definitely say that the GTX 2060 will perform better than the GTX 1070, but maybe not up to 1080, so right about the GTX 1070 Ti level. So overall, the GTX 2060 should definitely be a significant upgrade over the GTX 1060, but what real-world performance does that actually translate into? Well, the GTX 2060 should be able to completely obliterate all games at 1080p with max settings for the next couple of years. It is more of a 1440p or 1080p ultra-wide gaming card, so for those gaming styles, expect around 60 to 90 frames per second on all games with max settings. Unfortunately, it will struggle with 4K. On certain games, it may be able to push out 60 frames, but for the most part, it will be less than 60 frames per second as far as 4K goes. Overall, the GTX 2060 will pretty much be an overkill 1080p gaming card that will last you several years, or an on-point 1440p or 1080p ultra-wide gaming card that will also last you several years, but you may have to dial down the graphic settings after a couple of years. I think the next most important factor when considering to buy a card is its price. So will the GTX 2060 be super expensive like its RTX brothers? First of all, the GTX 2060 does not have ray tracing technology, and that probably contributed very heavily to the high prices of the RTX series. Nvidia spent several years developing that technology, so the research costs were probably very high, and that may be a huge factor as to why the RTX series is so expensive. But the GTX 2060 doesn't have ray tracing technology, so you should be able to save a bunch of money on that. Also, this is just a mid-level card, so Nvidia can't really push the price up very much without losing out on a lot of potential customers. That being said, I think the GTX 2060 will come out for an MSRP of $300, because that's the exact same MSRP that the GTX 1060 6GB card also came out for, and unfortunately, I really don't think it will be lower than that, especially because of the RAM situation right now, and it may even be up to $350 for the Founders Edition card. But for the most part, the GTX 2060 should be relatively the same price as the GTX 1060, which cannot be said about the 20 series cards that are out right now. It was expected the GTX 2060 would come out at the end of November or the beginning of December. That way, Nvidia and we could both take advantage of the holiday season and drive more sales for them and get really great prices for us. But unfortunately, that does not seem to be happening right now. According to Asus, the GTX 2060 is not set out to come until the first quarter of 2019. This does make sense because Nvidia still has a lot of inventory of the 10 series, and so they definitely don't want to saturate the market with more options. So unfortunately, there's probably still a couple of months before we even hear about this card. In the meantime, something that you should definitely not overlook is the 10 series. This 10 series cards still perform great, and there are really great deals out there right now. By the end of this year, we will probably see record low prices for all the 10 series GPUs, especially throughout the holiday season. It may be wiser to pick up a GTX 1070 or 1080 during one of these great deals instead of waiting for the GTX 2060, because you may even be able to get it for a cheaper price for just about the same performance, and you won't have to wait as long too. You just won't be on the newest platform and get some of the little benefits of the 20 series, but if you don't really care about those and you just care about raw performance, then this is really a great deal. Because the 10 series is still a great series that will last you many years. The GTX 2060 will most likely be a solid upgrade of the 1060 for around the same price, but unfortunately it is probably still a couple of months out right now. If you are not in a rush and you want the newest thing, then it is definitely worth it to wait for it. You will not regret it. However, if you really don't care about that and you just care about value and performance, then the 10 series is still a great option. But that's just what I think. What do you guys think? When do you guys think the GTX 2060 is going to come out? And do you really think the RX 600 series, or whatever it will be called, is actually coming out next month? And what about AMD Navi? Make sure to comment down below what you guys think, because I do read all my comments and I'm curious as to what you guys think, so make sure to post your thoughts. Also, if you guys like this video, then make sure to drop a like and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more videos just like this one. But until then, I'm Hari. I'll see you guys on the next one.